Hello, Simon Dowling coming to you once again to talk about the question of psychological safety. And this is video number 3 in the series if you're following along the bouncing ball. Just to recap so far, our theme has been around the question of how do you create the sorts of conditions for a team to be able to do things that are bold and important, but they're hard for many people to do because there's an element of social or interpersonal risk. So how do we create the safety that makes it easy for people to take those risks where needed? And the sorts of things we're talking about here are things like challenging the status quo, coming up with ideas that are fundamentally different from the ones being put on the table by other leaders or senior leaders in the group, giving ourselves feedback and challenging ourselves to do even better. Those sorts of things make sense up here, but in here they can feel dangerous things to do in a team. So how do we create the right conditions for that to happen? And there's a few different elements to this. I'm really interested in exploring elements around the environment, like how do we set up those conditions, equipment, so how do we give people the gear, if you like, and by gear here I mean capabilities, systems, language, frameworks, norms, the things that can help them stay safe. And then the third is mindset. So what's the mindset that it takes for a leader to be, I guess, vulnerable enough, open enough, honest enough, and for the team to do the same, that they're comfortable about the risks. But I want to focus now on the first of those, which is environment. And one element that strikes me, the more I reflect on it, is really important, is to what extent do we create the conditions where people in the team feel they are truly appreciated? And when I say appreciated, I don't just mean in the thank you for what you do sense, or you're a great contributor. I really mean it more in the sense here of I see you. I appreciate the human experience of being a member of this team right now. And now extend that further. When you go so far as to contribute to a team conversation, or to challenge an idea, or to suggest an alternative, I appreciate, I see the extent to which you feel there is a risk around that. And as a leader, if I can demonstrate that kind of appreciation and recognition for people, I think what I do is I provide them with validation and acknowledgement and encourage them to step further into that risk. I was triggered to think about this because I was working with a team a couple of weeks ago where the leader in the room, the senior leader in the room, was very good at doing this. So when someone in the team would contribute, what she would do was make really strong eye contact with them. She would look at them with a smile on her face and make kind of affirmative body language as if to say, yep, absolutely, go on, you should keep talking about that. As she listened in that kind of quiet but very reassuring way, she'd then go the next step of inviting them to talk more about it. So she'd say things like, I'd be interested to hear a bit more about that. I think there's an interesting thread here that we haven't yet picked up on. So very affirmative and encouraging signals back to the team. I think if a leader in the room does this, it sends a signal to others that this is the norm. And over time, what you would hope to see is that the team builds up its own ability to give each other that encouragement and assurance. And as you do so, and the way that people respond to contributions from the team, so too does the level of trust in the room, and as a consequence, the level of safety. So I guess my thought coming out of this video is, how do you, in your team, create that sense of people feeling heard and seen and noticed, in particular when they are taking risks? And how do you give them that quiet encouragement to continue to contribute? That's my thought for this week. I look forward to coming back to you in my next video, continuing this theme. As always, thoughts, comments, ideas, questions, deeply encouraged.